Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, co-founder and co-host of the Creative Bird Strategy Podcast and House here on Clubhouse. Let's get started here in the next couple of minutes. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning. We're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m., every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. So first, I'll do a quick invite to get some people in and some peeps in, and we'll get a conversation going. What a unbelievably busy week on the market. Discussions, posts, updates. It was a very, very busy week for not just personally, but just watching the market itself. It was just so active. And I can tell you for a fact, the activity kind of reflected on a lot of my posts this week. And man, a lot of commentaries going on in my feed this past week. It was really interesting to see, and this kind of ties into our discussion this morning, which is real estate networking, or your network can determine your success strategies. So first, we'll definitely update ourselves on the market. Obviously, the rates have been fluctuating, and the 30-year fix closed at around about 6.43. Base rate for commercials about 6.5. Inflationary numbers came out at the end of the week. Didn't really look that great. They looked okay, kind of flat, still up. So obviously, the indications is that the Fed is going to drop the Fed rate by 25 basis points. But I mean, again, if you're a true real estate professional, you understand this quarter point doesn't really do much. It's just a indicator that, and we're recognizing we're in a situation where there's job issues or unemployment issues and inflationary numbers, and the cost of living is just getting to a point where they have to bring the money down. Okay, the cost of the money down. Um, Very interesting articles that I posted this past week. Mr. Warren Buffett's making some serious moves. I think he unloaded 1.5 or 1.6 billion dollars in stock between Apple and Bank of America. Bank of America unloaded over $843 million. Apple unloaded $568 million of stock. Who's to say where that's all going to go? I mean, maybe it's a risk management move. I mean, he is 93 years old. Is he really handling his own company at this point? Be very interesting to see what he's thinking in the market. Now, some articles that caught my eye this past week. Fewer people are purchasing homes despite high demand buyers and are in a wait and see mode. So, like, if this quarter point drop, this is not going to change the fall market. The fall market is what it is. People are already getting settled in where their kids are going to school. They're not going to make some grand move on buying a home and move because there was a quarter point change in the rate. There would be a small window of demographic that'll take advantage of maybe that lower rate, but not as many. And plus, you have this very stagnant real estate market. So, um, it's kind of it'd be a quandary there in regards to where the market does go with this quarter point. And then if there's another quarter point drop in November, now you're in the winter market. Who's really buying a property around Thanksgiving and Christmas? So you got to think about how this will soften the blow of spiraling U.S. debt, but it won't solve the 35 trillion problem that we have. Okay, we have a heavy debt load of $35 trillion in debt in our country. So some other articles that caught my eye this morning before we get into our moderators and our discussion this morning. Pending home sales dropped about 5.5% to an all-time low in July. Jobless claims inched lower in latest week. U.S. economy grew 3% in the second quarter, revised figures. And thanks to our current government, they only miscalculated $800,000 jobs in their labor numbers this past year. So brilliance to them. the next debate will really indicate where the market will be going. September 10th, I definitely earmark that. That's going to be a very interesting debate and how that impacts our market and the real estate market for that matter, and just the world as in general. Let's see what else we got going here. Let's see if there's anything on my market trends that catch my eye. Renters are seeking upgrades without breaking the bank, so there's a lot of rental movement. And then one last thing that caught my eye: which states are experiencing the largest number of commercial foreclosures? What's going on here? Ooh, number one, no big surprise, California. Number two is Texas. Number three is New York. Number four is New Jersey. Number five is Florida. Number six is Pennsylvania. Number seven, Illinois. Number eight, Arizona. Number nine, Connecticut. And number 10, Washington State. Let's keep an eye on those commercial foreclosures. So let's dive into our discussion at hand. Real estate networking success strategies. I can tell you, we just had an unbelievable networking event Thursday night. Yardell Perkins and myself sponsored I would say, kind of like an opening up to our offices where we were. We had close to 100 people at the event. Very diverse group. We tied it into Sub 2 and some of the other organizations in the area, and really a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of new people, a lot of fresh faces, and we had a couple other networking events that I was involved with this past week, just staying out there in front of people. And then Friday night I went to the Philly Brave game at a clubhouse that I was invited to, and I still did a little extra networking. I made some reconnections, and I got some follow-ups I got to do. So, effective networking is a crucial component of success in real estate, and some strategies I've put a write-up together to leverage that strong network. I posted on LinkedIn and some of my other sites as well. Attending industry events and meetups, number one, conference and trade shows and these local meetups. The local meetups are just so much meat on the bone, either building out your team, building out your buyers list, building out your client base. It's so important. That room of 25 to 100 people, man, it's like Candyland. Like on Thursday night, all I was doing was networking one to the other, making introductions. Hey, take a look over here. Let's set up a lunch meeting. Let's set up a coffee meeting. And number two, leveraging your social media. I mean, if anybody that follows me on any of my social media buckets, I mean, you gotta leverage it. And then, and number one, everybody thinks it's all about Facebook. It's all about LinkedIn. Know your client and customer. Like, LinkedIn is everything. Use that LinkedIn to connect with other professionals, sharing insights and joining relevant groups. It's a great platform for professional network. Now, again, Facebook has an unbelievable, plethora of groups to tackle and join and participate in. Related Facebook groups engage in discussions and share valuable content. But I could tell you, this past week, I've been testing out just putting one-line phrases in red as a post on my Facebook, and I'm still getting chatter on those commentaries and then also adding at my followers and my highlights. It's like crazy. I'm getting like 50, 60 comments. I'm very involved with the discussions. I'm getting a lot of back channel follow-ups. Leverage that social media to the max to maximize your business and turn it into business. Okay. Number three, building relationships with other professionals, realtors and brokers, contractors and service providers, insurance agents, property managers. There's so many different facets to real estate where you could tie it back in, right? That's, to me, I'm data mining, because you never know who somebody else knows. All right. And then obviously offer value first, sharing knowledge, providing valuable information or resources to your network without expecting anything in return. It's very hard Okay, you feel like you're kind of a welcome mat, but just do it in portions and see what the results are. This will build goodwill and make you a valuable contact. And collaboration. Offer to collaborating on projects or deals. Joint ventures can be a great way to strengthen relationships. But let's go back to sharing knowledge. Okay, you got to track your introductions to people. Like if you're helping somebody making contacts, you're going to need to call them out eventually if they're not reciprocating. Okay, you got to have the courage to say, "Listen, man, I've made 3 really great introductions to you. When are you going to make that next introduction to me?" I mean, you can call it out at any time. There's nothing wrong with calling somebody out saying, "Hey, listen, I need a call to action here. Can you put me in touch with 3 people? Or by the way, I did a great closing on this deal. Can you make 3 introductions to clients that you might think I might be able to have? I can provide that value too." And you got to follow up consistently. Like that database of attendees on Thursday night, every single person got an email, got a connection on LinkedIn, got a connection, and it got 2 emails, a connection on LinkedIn, and they're going to have a phone call on Monday. I mean, on Tuesday. Everyone's going to get a phone call referencing, "Hey, Joe Scarice from Landmark gave you a call. Would you like to have a cup of coffee, or would you like to grab lunch with him to discuss what you're doing?" Okay, be consistent, stay in touch, personalized follow-ups. Number 6, attending non-real estate events. Maybe some community involvement, engaging community activities, charity events, non-real estate related gatherings. These can provide unexpected networking opportunities and diversifying your network, building relationships outside of real estate industry that can lead to unique opportunities and referrals. Number 7, developing a strong personal brand, your online presence. We offer video work here on the Creative Birth Strategies podcast. If you need an interview to get people to see who you are, see what you have to say, providing your insight, well, we're here to help you. And consistent messaging, ensuring the personal brand is consistent across all platforms. This helps in establishing trust and credibility. Number 8, real estate associations or specialized groups. I'm finding the realtor associations getting a little stale. I'm finding these smaller investor groups that have modules of education, providing better insight, more current information, more more thought provision to building out your real estate portfolio. I really think these smaller groups, like we're starting our own mastermind group second Monday of the month, because I feel like there's a miss right now in the Philadelphia market, second Monday of the month. It's not a high competitive date. I'm going to work it. I'm going to work it for 6 months, see what comes about. But we're going to try to really help people make a difference in their real estate business. Well, hopefully assist them in pivoting in the right ways. And then number 9, mentorship and mastermind groups. Just talking about mastermind, identifying a mentor or coach, and identifying maybe a mastermind, participating in a form of mastermind group with like-minded real estate professionals to share knowledge, strategies, and referrals. And number 10, using technology to your advantage, networking apps, CRM systems. Yardell and I have a great database that we're always data mining with updates. And number 11, be a good listener, understanding needs, paying attention to the needs and challenges of your contacts, offering solutions or connections based on what you learn can solidify your relationship, building rapport. Active listening builds rapport and trust, making it more likely that people want to do business with you. Be consistent applying these strategies. You can build a very powerful network that will support your success in the real estate industry. We'll go ladies first, of course. Miss Melissa, good morning. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to real estate networking and determining your success strategies. Melissa, are you there?
Yeah, I am camping again, Joe.
Oh boy.
Here in West. So I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I lost you a couple of times. Hi, guys. Hi, Clubhouse. Thank you for having me up, Joe. This is Melissa King, owner-operator at One SILS Virtual Assistant Services. I offer realty bookkeeping and office management services. I'm also a state of Michigan licensed referral agent and notary. I'm insured, bonded, and trusted by my groups. I love this topic, Joe. I am at my Friday morning breakfast with my local rental property group every week. I even have a contractor that is a good friend of mine that refers me quite often. And every week I will take our little QR code that they pass around and have us fill out for our haves and wants. And I do that freely for him. He gives me referrals. You know, that's networking. And you have to go to these meetings. People need to see you. Otherwise, they won't trust you. And that's a fact. That's definitely what I found out. Once I finally started pushing a little bit more these last 5 years, getting myself out, more events, getting out in front of more people, introducing yourself, not just trying to sell things to them, but just like you said, listen, what do they need? Find out what their needs are. You might know somebody that can help them. That's absolutely how it works. I can't believe the success that I've had just by getting out of the basement and talking to more people and putting yourself out there. And I'm continuing to do that. I'm going down to Invest Success in Mobile, Alabama. They asked me to, I'm going to be a student for their 3-day class. I'm also going to be teaching part of it, and I'm networking. I'm doing some sponsoring. So yeah, you got to get out. It's great. The social media, I wanted to hit on that real quick, Joe. I only do it twice a week, and I can't believe the impressions that I get. So LinkedIn and Facebook, I need to add a couple more, but LinkedIn is my favorite just because I feel comfortable there. It's real estate people, it's business people. There's all kinds of investments that will pop up. So that's, if you're not on LinkedIn yet, you're way behind. So please do set up that LinkedIn profile. That's all I have today, Joe. Thank you so much for having me up.
So Melissa, stay on mic if you don't mind. Are you finding that some of the RIAs are getting a little stale and regimented? Well, they've been stale and regimented, and they're using the same content over and over again the last decade. And are you seeing some of these smaller investor groups getting a little more modernized and staying a little more affluent to the market, keeping their fingers on the pulse? I just feel like there's a miss that the RIA's not seeing compared to these smaller investor groups. Is it because they're too bulky and aged, or just they don't? I mean, maybe it's just a sell-a-thon to them. What's your thoughts to the networking criteria differences between a RIA and a smaller investor group, like a coffee meeting or a mastermind, or like a modulated subject matter that's provided every month through an investor group? What's your thoughts on that? Because you go to both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, you can create some groupthink. And and I would, yeah, some of these, that's why I'm reaching out. I'm getting a little bit of groupthink, I think. If I got to repeat that. I want to grow. That's why I love Clubhouse, and I'm starting to reach out and go outside of Michigan a little bit, in the West Michigan area, because that's what I've been primarily. But this year, with Clubhouse and going out to some out of state places, it really does give you some different perspectives. So if you can, just like you said, visit not just the real estate groups. I'm started up in a Casual Friday group. It's just business entrepreneurs. Yep. And you just need to spread the love, I guess. That's the best way to get a better perspective all around. And I would totally agree. There's people need to get out of their box here. That's what I'm finding in the smaller group. You really do need to reach out more. And we are having a couple of people to work. So, yeah, I think we're spreading the love there, Joe. We just need to keep being continuous about it and keep shouting about it more. Clubhouse and other audio programs are a great way to do that.
Well, thank you, Melissa. Enjoy the camping. Better you than me. My form of camping is the Residence Inn Marriott and having some catered breakfast or a glass of wine in the afternoon. So I'll rough it at one of those places sometime soon and call you from there, okay?
You've given me a really good idea. I think I should just kind of glamp up some little area here in West Michigan, and I can just provide all that to you, and you can sit, and we'll just walk up to you, give you your wine.
Make sure there's a cigar lounge. Make sure there's a small cigar lounge where I can cut a cigar too, please. Thank you.
Excellent. That's perfect.
My pleasure. So, networking is a cornerstone of success in many professions, particularly in real estate. For real estate professionals, having a robust network can mean the difference between simply surviving and thriving in this competitive field. We're going to exploit and talk tactics for building and maintaining a professional network that can open doors to new opportunities and propel your real estate career. Okay. Building a strong foundation, identifying your networking goals. Before diving into networking, it's important to identify what your hope is, what you're hoping to achieve. Are you looking to find more clients, learn from experienced real estate professionals, or partner with other real estate professionals to add to your referral network? There's nothing wrong with teaming up with another professional going to events. That's a good way of attacking an event if you feel like you're still a little introverted and you need that little boost by somebody that's a little more extroverted, leveraging industry events, utilizing online platforms, maybe interviewing one another and making introductions to one another and building out a base from there. Cultivating and maintaining relationships, providing value, keeping in touch. Like we're always sending out a blast, an individual blast on one subject or another. Yurdell and I on our database blasting. We're very consistent with what we're doing. We're very concise. We're always uploading new databases and getting rid of the unsubscribes and making sure the articles stay fresh and the information stays fresh. We rotate different blasts. My posts every day. I mean, I'm putting 3 to 4 different posts every day in different dynamics: commentary, education, insight, motivation. I'm engaging in local community events, regional community events, and national community events. I blend it. I'm very calculated about my calendar. I really I really underrate my calendar almost every week. People are like saying, "Hey, I'm going to set my goals for the year." No, man, you got to set your goals for the week. What do you want to accomplish this week by the events that you're going to attend, and who do you want to meet? Networking beyond the service. Seeking genuine connections, being patient and consistent. Like I've known somebody that I invited to my event Thursday night. I stopped at his office right down the block. We've never done business together. He's a real estate broker, really nice guy, just never been able to get business with one another. I'm like, Mike, I told him, hey, why don't you come down to the event? I'll make some introductions for you. I mean, hell, you're like a pivotal person to this corridor here down in Passyunk. Let me make some introductions for you. And he came in, I welcomed him. I introduced him to like 6 or 7 people. He opened up to me, telling me he needed a contact for something. I made the introduction immediately the next day. I mean, yeah, I didn't see any business from it. It's okay, but you know what? I did the right thing, and maybe that'll come full circle down the road. Now he's aware of who I am and what kind of person I am and how genuine I was by inviting him to that event. So sometimes there's some patience and consistency. I've known the individual 10 plus years in the industry. We never even sat and talked before. So we made a really nice personal connection. So these are things that you really need to keep in mind to be effective in your networking skills. Mr. Joseph Martella, welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to real estate networking success strategies.
Good morning, Joe. I'm a buy and hold investor. I've done several burrs. I also buy tax liens, done a little bit of personal lending. Yeah, so when you're talking about this aspect, right, you and Melissa come from a sales point of view, right? Getting to learn clients, right? And that's completely opposite of my world, right? I'm strictly an investor. I have a full-time job. I'm not looking to sell anything, but networking is absolutely important in even in the investor world. And case in point, I recently took a new position, as you know, and it requires me to do a lot of traveling. Right, and when you're doing a lot of traveling with 7 rentals, stuff is going to happen when you're not around to handle it remotely. And I've been successful thus far over the past several months in being able to manage that because of the network that I built. Going to RIAs, building a relationship with folks, able to make that phone call. Hey, I got a new tenant moving in. Can you cover me and just hand the keys to them? Or can you just walk through the property? I had some work done. Can you just walk through the property, take a peek at it, make sure everything was done correctly? And by able to get that done, I'm able to, I don't have a property manager, right? And people will say, well, you should just hire a property manager. And I refuse to do that. But I'm able to still be able to manage the property through the relationships that I built. Right. A lot of us talk about, you build the relationships, you let everybody know that you're investing in real estate, and then the deals will start coming your way. And I'm not necessarily looking at it to make the deals. I'm looking at it to how can I help somebody else and return the favor, which I have done, and then work and have that person fill in the gaps where I can't go. And you build those relationships. It's not always about money. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be at a jam at some point in life, and you're going to need that helping hand, right? So you build that network, you help people out, they'll help you in return, and it'll help you stay successful in life.
Joe, thank you. And Joe, you've really kind of pivoted from just being an attendee to events and now have been more of a participant, or I would say mentor or leadership role. I mean, what has changed for you running a more I'll call it more of a mastermind group on a first Wednesday of the month? 30 people show up. You have a partner associate that helps you with it. Uh, and Marcus, sorry, yeah. I brain froze for a minute. Marcus, I mean, what have you felt like, and like, what have you felt like people have gotten out of it? What has been the return on investment? What overall? I mean, do you feel good about it? Are you going to continue it? Are you going to do something from it? Or are you going to kind of just keep it the way it is? Thoughts, concerns?
So when it comes to the dinner and deals group that I co-host, right, with Marcus, um, part of it is it's not always getting something out, right? It's part of it is giving back, right? You all read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and one thing that he said in it that I read it when I was younger was, if you give to him, he gives you back double, right? And that's been a mantra that I've been sticking with, and quite honestly, and I don't talk much about this stuff, right? I feel that has been proven, right? If you do well by others, the man upstairs is going to pay you back, or whoever that superior being that you may believe in is going to do there, because we all talk about karma. Karma comes and gets you, but you need to put some credit in the karma bank for when you need it. So part of it is being able to pour into someone who has that question, because at the end of the day, right, I have 7 rentals, and someone with no rental says, oh wow, you have 7. Well, I have 7 because I built 1 a year. There's other people that are bigger than me that have a lot more, that sometimes those people, like there's an individual with 400 units, or so they claim that they have 400 units, but they're very standoffish and they're very condescending in their conversation, and sometimes people forget where they came from, and I try to not forget where I came from, and I want to be able to have that helping hand, helping someone right below me, reaching out and bringing them up, and walking them through it. Because listen, in real estate investing, it most certainly is intimidating, right? I started investing in 2006, and then I got my rear end handed to me in the great GFC in 2008, because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I didn't really have that support group, and I was able to rebound and recover fairly well through tax liens, and now becoming a buy and hold investor. And I want to be able to do that same for someone else. As far as the group, I think it's working well the way it is. I think we've gotten some very good feedback where, hey, this is one of the best groups where you don't just have a talking head at you, and you can actually ask questions, and you're going to get the real responses, because there's nobody up there that's looking to sell something to you. right? Everybody usually just gives a piece and like, oh, call me, I'm a real estate agent. We could go and look at properties, and they don't really know their stuff. And they're talking to two individuals who have been there, done that, and they're getting the full benefit of just a true conversation.
Joe, I feel like the speaker thing where somebody speaks in front for 45 minutes to an hour and kind of eats away at the whole time of getting to know everybody in the room is going to dissipate over the next now. It's dissipating now. So like I'm seeing a subject being thrown in the middle and everybody's going to need to participate, and it's going to open up people, take them out of their introverted ways and really almost not force them but make them feel comfortable enough to become a little more extroverted. I'm feeling like that social involvement to the subject at hand is much more popular now and becoming more popular with the newer investor. Like the other event that we go to that's a non-RIA event, okay? It's a totally different vibe, right? And the people that go to it are totally not even members of the RIA. It's completely a whole different group of demographics. And they like going to that because they feel like it's a little looser, it's a little more time to talk and get their stuff out in front of people. What's your thoughts to that, Joe? Like, where do you think this is all? I mean, you're an investor. Like, you don't have an agenda like a real estate agent. If you were if you have relatives that are trying to become real estate agents or getting, what advice do you give them, like, or suggestions? Because like from a networking perspective, like, what I do and how I do it, how I work a room, how I make the introductions. What would be one thing you would tell a family member? Say, listen, this is what you got to do, and you got to be very good at it, and you got to be very consistent. What is there something that you like? What would you tell somebody as an investor, to an agent or anybody that's in the industry as a service provider?
Be genuine, right? Don't always go for the sale. I think that if you have something to offer somebody, right, other than just the product that you're selling, right, whether it's you have to connect, you have to build that rapport with somebody, and that's how you kind of get that loyalty, right? Oh, I know Joe, and he fishes, and we both like saltwater fishing, or we both like to cook, or we both like going to, I don't know, the movies or the opera or whatever, right? And you make that connection. If you, at least for me, I find it a turnoff when a realtor comes. Oh, hi, I'm a realtor, and I can help you buy properties. Well, so can the 80,000 other realtors that are in the state of New Jersey, right? What makes you special that you're going to connect with me and earn my loyalty, right? I have one realtor, and it's, as a person, I'm loyal to a fault, but I have one realtor that I've dealt with, and I've bought now 7 properties off of, right? And she's represented me in every sale, and it's because she didn't come across that way. It's more of she heard what I needed, and I just needed her to get me in the door, because I could do my own research. I could look at the properties on the MLS. I'm very low maintenance. I don't need her to just start flooding me with emails and text messages on properties that are on the market. And she doesn't do that. I'll text her. I just texted a Zillow the property, and she says, when do you want to go see it? Right? And that's what I need. So you got to cater to the people's needs. And that's what it is. I mean, having a real estate license is not special, Joe. Having a lender's license is not special. It's you that makes that license that you have special. So, and it's how you handle yourself. If you're going to come in as a salesman, people are going to treat you like a salesman, right? But if you're going to come in as a genuine person, then people are going to respond to that genuineness that you share.
It's funny you say that because my approach when I go to an event is trying to introduce people to one another. When I feel like I see somebody that's a little uncomfortable with themselves in an event, I try to make introductions for them, small talk, couple laughs. I almost often forget to tell them what I do. I give them my card, they give me their card, and then I almost kind of forget, to have that additional conversation. And then I start talking about health. I start talking about how, and people start asking, "Hey, my God, I've seen pictures of you lost a lot of weight," and we talk about health and what I do for fitness, and we start talking about health and fitness, and I love talking about health. I could talk about health and fitness all day long. Um, the different things that I've done to try to really get myself back on track the right way. And it's a battle, right, Joe? I mean, like, health and fitness is just not, it's not a discussion. It's every day you got to do something to take care of yourself, right? And it's a battle, right? You know, we're, we were born with these beautiful bodies, and it's tough to show off all the time, right? So it's a battle of how to, eating patterns and what to do, and you're allowed to. And I love having discussions like that with people, because people want to have a natural conversation just about life, man. They, the pains of life, that ties into the pains of real estate, and then real estate is so much easier to discuss. You know what I mean? And
it is. And like, even this room that you run, Joe, right? You give so much free information out, right? That people go to courses and pay $10, $20, $30,000 a piece to go to, and they don't even get that information. There's just so much free information that you're giving out right now, and I'm not catering to you or me or any of your moderators up here. It's just it's a great discussion, which is why I come here often, right? And I contribute, and again, it's a form of giving back, right? And give, and it's a form of sharing. One thing that we don't get from this stage, right? This conversation is great information, and I'm sure people have, but haven't gotten, and they take a little tidbit away, right? And that little tidbit could save them, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right? Or if it made them become successful, or avoided them from a mistake. Could have even made them avoid a mistake that they didn't even know that they were going to make, right? Just by educating them along the way. I've learned stuff listening to podcasts, and it's literally saved me tens of thousands of dollars by learning just one thing. And I share that with people. I got that free of charge, right? You just got to listen. The information is out there, but again, it all goes back to, you get what you give, and it goes back to, if you contribute and help educate somebody, or just share what it is that's working for you, and maybe it works for them. I think that comes back to you twofold.
yeah,
You have to have a good heart about it.
yeah, I agree with you. And this ties into a lot of other things. Like, what amazes me, you're out there wanting to meet people and network. Please, 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 for the love of God, have a business card. Okay, or have a thing that where you could scan and get their information and give your information. I'm amazed how many real estate professionals go to a networking event and come with nothing. They just come. I don't get it. Like, how do you not have a business card? Vistaprint, you can get a free 100 cards. I mean, like, it's not that difficult. I mean, hell, I'll buy you your cards. Okay. And another thing is, make them readable. I mean, they're legible. I mean, I've gotten business cards where I have to use a microscope thing on my phone to see what the phone numbers are and what their email is. I mean, I can't read it. Like, how do you give out a business card where it's like the font is like 0.002? I'm like, I don't understand. I can't read it. I can't scan it. I can't get anything out of it. So, like, business cards, old school, will always work. I have umpteen amount of business cards in all my jackets, because so I don't have to be scurrying looking for them. I always have cards ready to hand out. Or if I don't have a pocket in my shirt or something, I'm putting business cards in my wife's purse. Like, last night I had a shirt that didn't have a pocket, so my wife had we put business cards in my wife's uh, purse, and I handed out my business card to a couple people that I hadn't seen in a while, and I'm following up with them as well today. They didn't have business cards. None of them had business cards. We're talking about, one was a broker, a mortgage broker. She didn't have a business card. Two mortgage brokers that I met did not have a business card. Okay. I had them text me their information. A realtor who I met did not have a business card. She texted me her information. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I always do believe old school will always work. And then also, wear something professional. yet memorable. I mean, like dress the part. Like, I'll give you an example. Yordell Perkins of Perkatech, who's one of our sponsors, he came out with the suit. He was wearing a tie. I'm like, dude, go without the tie. Be classy, but yet professional. And he looked great. He looked like James Bond. I was like James Bond. There you go. At the black suit, the shirt, very comfortable in those settings. Very important. And he stood out. He stood out. I mean, he's a social media guy, but he stood out in a room of real estate professionals. Okay. Research your attendees. Kind of get an idea of what type of attendee is coming to that type of event. Maybe it's based on the subject matter, but if you can get a list of those people and do some homework before you go there, that helps a lot. Know what your room is going to be like before you go in there. Breaking out of your comfort zone, maybe bringing a partner with you to break the ice a little bit with people, making introductions, and never ever be scared of the supposed big players in the room. Those are the first ones you go after. Joe, did you want to add something?
Yeah, the business card, right? That's a pet peeve of mine because everybody's going to these digital business cards, and it's just a conversation breaker. It's not an icebreaker, right? It destroys the conversation because you're in the middle of having a conversation with the person. You're building that rapport. You're making that connection. Oh, let me give my business card. So now you got to fumble around. You got to find the QR code. The other person has to figure out their QR code, and now they're paying attention to try to download your information. Whereas we can still have a conversation. Here's my business card, and continue on that conversation. Continue on building the rapport, and instead of just doing that whole quick QR code because it isn't quick at all, and that's one of my pet peeves.
I also get a kick out of the enamorization of the big players in the room or the supposed big players in the room. Every single time I've gone into a room where there's a big player, I go right up to him, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. My name is Joe Scarice. I'm with Landmark Capital. And what do you do? And they're like, look at me like, oh, you don't know what I do? Oh my goodness. Well, no, I don't know what you do. And I want you to break it down in pure, unadulterated English so I can better understand a little bit about you. And if I want to work with you, or if I ever want to refer somebody to you, or maybe I never want to refer somebody to you. So if you're already going to give this stigmata of attitude off the bat, why would I want to be in the same room with you? Or if I can't feel comfortable with you, why would I want to be enamored or follow anything that you have to say? So the big players in the room, if they're not welcoming, there's probably a reason why they're not welcoming. There's obviously a problem there. Okay. So I want people to feel welcome. Listen, do you think every single person likes me when I walk in the room? No, I have pure unadulterated haters in my space. Of course, we all have haters in one form or another. You got to get past that. You got to break out of that whole thing. There's nothing to be scared of. You're not in high school anymore. You're not in grammar school anymore. You're in real life adulthood. Real life adulthood. You got to get a pass with all that stuff. I'm not worried about what people think about me. I am sure there was a couple of people in that clubhouse last night. I was the first one there. My wife and I were first ones there. We were there for an hour by ourselves at the Philly baseball game. But I was there. And people start coming out. I was welcoming people as they were coming. They thought I was the host. Be early means you're ready to go. Being on time, you're late already. I like being there and welcoming. So I knew there was a couple people that they were a little whatever. That's okay. That's their problem. That's not my problem. Don't allow other people interfere with your networking successes. Okay? You could fire them right there immediately in the networking environment. Okay? Gone. Bye. Have a good day. Right? And this all ties back to having a good website or web page. Yordell Perkins of Perkatech created a beautiful website for me. You could go to it's josephscarice.com. We have the creativebirdstrategies.com above. And also, by the way, we were celebrating our 50th podcast upload into the website. So anybody has not seen all the podcasts or listened to them, we now have 50 of them. I know we have more going, but we're hit 50 on the website, which is pretty exciting stuff. and it gives people a sense of, okay, they have a website, they have a web page. I can follow up with them. They can follow up with me. But again, at the end of the day, networking is key. I mean, you could do all the Facebook blasting and commentary all you want, but meeting people or talking to people, I always question the fact when somebody doesn't want to talk to me. Okay, and they avoid it. They stay in a more commentary mode or an opinion mode, and that's great. You know what opinions are like, right? So make sure everything kind of balances. And number eight, be a good listener. Like you're a kindergarten teacher, right? And you're listening to a bunch of young children running around. That's what a networking event is sometimes. Don't shy away from your success. I mean, I talk about my accomplishments because I break it down by the week. I break it down by the day. Like this week, I had a great week. Meeting some great people. Had a great networking event with my business partner at our offices. I went to a great little baseball game. Took time with my wife to go out and have a nice time. We got a nice weekend ahead of ourselves. Next week we have a first Friday. At my wife's offices at the Wellness Center. It's a great way to go into the fall. We're really hitting the ground. Then we got the mastermind event. We're building relationships. Like another thing I did, I thought was a good gesture. Like the database of the people that came to the event. I shared it to the other individuals that were at the event. Like there's no hidden. I'm not hiding anything by anybody. Hey, here's everybody that was at the event. If there's somebody you missed, here's their full name, email, and contact number. Like I'm an open book, and I think people appreciate that. I don't have this insecurity about my database, who people attended. Here you go. Don't be shy about that. Be welcoming because listen, you're only going to be if you don't do anything with that database. I'm still to the advantage because I already worked that database on Friday. I'm already a day or two ahead of you. Okay, and introducing new connections to other connections. Like there was an attorney at our happy hour Thursday night. I could sense he was a little uncomfortable. I made like 5 or 6 introductions for him to people in the room. Do you know he sent me a really nice email the next day? Hey, Joe, I really appreciate you taking the time and introducing me to people because I didn't know anybody in the room. I said, I hope you walked away knowing people, and I hope you come back to our next event next Friday and bring 2 or 3 people. Okay, that's a difference maker. And another big thing when you're doing these networking events, avoid the drinking if possible. Just put a club soda with a lime in it. Nobody will know any difference. I mean, maybe you could throw a little vodka in it, but I won't tell nobody. But again, keep a little club soda with a lime. You want to keep your balance. It's not a dating happy hour. You're trying to really network with people. Give more than you get. Building connections again, very important. Keeping your goals in mind and what you're trying to do, and find your networking style. Okay, you don't have to be the loudest one in the room to have a rewarding and successful networking experience. Think about what already makes you successful as a real estate professional. Perhaps it's your compassion, attention to detail, incredible ability to sense what your clients need before they ask. Doing some follow-up emails. Hey, how are you doing? Just checking in. Just doing a check-in. Nothing wrong with a check-in. Consider virtual events just to get started. Maybe you're having a little problem with social media anxiety. I get it. I've been there. Plan your next networking event with social media, like maybe holding an event. If you need help, we'll work it out with you. We'll help you put together an event. Keep an ear out for an industry insight. Follow up with your contacts and enjoy yourself. Justin, good morning and welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and real estate can determine your success strategies and thoughts.
Oh, yeah, Joe. Everybody, Justin Jefferson, a real estate professional in the Louisiana market. Um, Building. I've been a licensed realtor since 2011, so quite a bit of experience there. But to me before, being a realtor is not my first uh, first form that I take. Right. That is what I did to become some real estate professional, because when I was in my teens, I knew I wanted to do certain things. But I'm giving a little brief bio this morning. I got a reason for it. So Um, anyway, so going that route, I've always worked with investors. I started at a place that hosted the HUD homes. So we were listed the HUD homes, so we had pretty much a contract with HUDHomestore.com, and we had to list them, manage those properties, and so I had a job doing that, and also got exposure to a lot of investors. So during that time, later on, I became a broker, and not long after that, I did my first flip. That was in 2017. I flipped several properties since then. I got one going on right now. I've built some properties for some folks, and I'm looking to do some building on my own in my personal investment style before the end of the year. And as a all professional development in a little bit larger scale than what I'm at now is really where I'm trying to do. Really, I'm trying to go and focus on sustainable development in underdeveloped areas. So all of that to say, right? I've seen a whole lot. I've been to RIAs of all different sorts. The information that you guys have shared this morning has just been on point. About two or three of them have really hit home for me personally, because even though I've been in this environment that long, I guess just the realities of life and the realities of turbulence have affected my confidence at different points. And when that confidence has been affected, even during my time on this app, right? Nothing but, and I don't want to be cliche, but nothing but continuing through that experience, like instead of saying something, nothing but continuing on through that experience, asking your experts, listening to other people's stories, listening to what, you know, other folks in the industry have had to champion themselves. Just this morning, right, on this phone call, 2 or 3 points made that really just made me feel better about some of the places that I know I've been allowing myself to be, okay? And that to me brings confidence in the fact that I have an answer to solve my problem to be the better version of myself. Sometimes networking, just going to the networking event can give you that. Just showing up to the event and talking to the right people, getting over that of you not having the right thing to say. So this last thing that Joe just said was the third point that really hit home for me is proud of your accomplishments, man. And that's one thing I've had. I don't know if it's because I'm a Taurus. I'm still figuring it out, right? Maybe I don't have enough strong people around me. And that's another thing I'm working on. But I've done some pretty cool stuff. My skill set in identifying a deal is great. I can identify, I can create spread. My skill set throughout the process in the past 4 or 5 years ago hadn't been so good, and it caused me to have turbulent projects before, right? And so the things that I've had to learn from and build from, but past that and not letting me take it out, it's something that I can be proud of, right? Me still in the game right now and looking on to being on pace to being where I really want to be, right? So from a personal perspective, I think I'm saying these things to anybody in the crowd who maybe have needed to hear that last comment that stuck with me with Joe, which was if you are doing anything, if you're putting in the work, let it be known. Don't be overly braggadocious, right? Don't lie about how good you are, right? Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to underperform, but don't rob yourself of the credit that you earn and the credit that you deserve. And you can briefly put that in a resume fashion in your introduction that's not overwhelming to people, so that you can establish that, and you'll see their reaction, and it'll give confidence to what you need to say, how you need to say it, how you need to deliver and present yourself. Furthermore, when you have confidence in yourself and who you are, you're not going to just go out there like you're anybody. You're not going to allow yourself to just say anything. You're not going to allow yourself to just do business with anybody, because you're going to value who you are. You're going to value what you have going on, where you've been, and and that's gonna be a big difference maker. So in these networking rooms, one of my first epiphanies that made me believe almost it could be possible in this arena was when I noticed type of people I could meet. My dad had a pretty decent job, um, and connected because he was in the community and he was also just the type of job he had, right? And so I saw a lot of people gravitating to someone who was always willing to help and stuff like that. A resource, right? What he could not give me was all the answers to how to be successful in this industry. That was not one of his strong suits at all. So me getting confident from that and then going out into the world, right, with confidence, because I don't have the place where I usually get my tools and answers for life. They can't give me any answers here. But I found quickly that I had there are people who are going to gravitate to my interests, gravitate to me being genuine, and gravitate to the fact that, first of all, I'm a nerd. So I'm going to know a lot of, I'm going to be able to hold a conversation with somebody who's building skyscrapers if I know that's an interest of mine, for example. And by the way, there was somebody at the event me and Joe met at face to face who was in that kind of world. And, so put yourself in the right position. You never know who you're going to meet who can take you to the next level because, you go there, the people who are interested in helping you are going to be there, and the other people like you who are looking for help are also going to be there. So just go provide some value, and there'll be plenty there for you. So that's it, Joe. For now.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate it. I mean, what I got out of what you just said was absolute transformation. You have to have a transformation in your networking skills. It has to feel transformational. Look up what transformation means, and maybe that'll tie into what you want to get out of a networking environment. Gilbert, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to RE networking can determine your success strategies.
Hey, good morning, Joseph, Melissa, Joe, Justin, and Lewis. My name is Gilbert Okulanko. I'm the managing partner of a development company down in Houston, great building company, where we focus on development of 1 to 4 door rental property. We've done some build to sell as well, and we also fee build for clients that are local and out-of-state clients. Also a long-term buy and hold investor. I've owned real estate since 2008. We've been a long-term buy and hold investor for probably the greater part of the last 15 years, but development space is relatively new to us. Just probably have about 7 years experience. But I like this conversation when it comes to networking. I think you guys all touched on some important concepts. I think one of the things is obviously to just come with the spirit of humility to networking events, and not just only at these networking events, but then in the relationships you form. If you're part of text chains or real estate groups, make sure that you are always contributing. You don't want to be that person that only is active because you're always asking for something or you always want something. Don't be the person that only calls someone only when you want something or need something. Contribute. And so that's part of my reality in some of the spaces I'm in here locally in Houston and some real estate groups is that, you constantly want to be contributing to the group, right? Because the more people see you contribute and exercise the spirit of humility, the times when you want or need something, you'll find a lot easier path to get there versus being in a situation where you're only always the person that has an ask or want or need. So other than that, Joseph, great room and discussion as usual. I just, implore everyone to, really work on your relationship skills. And from a business perspective, we're all in sales, whether or not we know it. I always love to tell people that. And I think one of the most important thing about sales as far as productivity and numbers, be sure that you're forming relationships, selling products or services to clients that you can actually have repeat business on, because the hardest thing in sales is to consistently get new customers. right? But it's easier to get a customer, meet their expectations, communicate with them, and then have repeat business with them over a period of years. Pigs get fat, hogs
Get
you know,
slaughtered.
you know the rest of it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I mean, listen, you got to go in as a gracious host or hostess at any event, be welcoming, be an introduction to others, perfect the art of networking. Perfect the art of networking at business networking groups, social clubs, fitness groups, home and garden expos, maybe wedding expos, investor meetups, community events, real estate conferences. Sometimes I don't like to go as a vendor. I like to just go as an attendee and just work the room and get to meet people, because sometimes people don't like to come up to a vendor table. Maybe it's a room of 100 people. I'm going to meet those 100 people throughout that day, whether I'm a vendor or I'm an attendee. So maybe I'll just go as an attendee. Maybe I'll go in a day early and earlier and grab lunch with the person that's running the event if they're willing to meet with me, or coffee. These are just some things that create and determine your success strategies. Lewis, good morning and welcome. First time up. I pulled them up here. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to networking with your success strategies.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you putting me out here today this morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Louis Guerrero. I'm in the New Jersey and Lehigh Valley, Eastern Pennsylvania markets, primarily focusing on wholesale strategy, wholesale methods, acquiring off-market properties through direct-to-seller outreach and other forms of outreach, agent outreach, as well as wholesaler to wholesaler outreach. I've been doing real estate since 2020. Since then, I've done roughly about 65 deals in New Jersey. Just looking to learn this morning, looking to network, like Joe said. In the past 2 weeks, I've probably seen Joe at least 4 events. I jump with him. I say, "Hey, Joe, how many clones do you have?" Because it's always like I see Joe at every real estate event that I go to. So it's really a contact game, and and these events weren't close to one another. There was one on one side of New Jersey, the other one South Jersey, the other one in Pennsylvania. So your networking doesn't have to be restricted to the area you do business. Like if you're doing business in New Jersey, but you know of a networking event in Pennsylvania, for example, there may be people who you can do business with in that other event as well. So don't limit yourself to just one event or your local area. People travel, and there's people who do business all over the world. So that's definitely a big thing that Joe said. Networking is huge in this game. Not just for the people that you reach out to directly. Also, I noticed that a lot of the time, if you ask people like, "Hey, what do you do?" They may not benefit you directly. However, you ask them, "Hey, do you know anybody who is buying or selling properties throughout New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania?" And they'll tell you, "Oh, I actually have a cousin," or "Oh, I actually have a so and so that is doing what you're looking for." So it's not necessarily a direct relationship you create with that person. It's more the indirect trickle down effect that comes from that. So you may have a conversation with somebody, but then you may form 3 relationships from that one initial meeting with them. So you never know who that person knows. So that's why I'm not sure who said it, but come into these rooms humble, being willing to speak with everybody, and I mean everybody, being like people who are just starting in real estate and people who have large syndication apartment buildings. You want to speak with everybody on the world, and honestly, just let them know, hey, who you are and what you do. Don't limit yourself, and always be open-minded to the possibilities that are out there. I honestly, with everybody speaking here, I don't have much experience compared to this room. However, with the experience that I do have, I can tell you with certainty that, networking works 100%. I'm actually in the car right now. I was just seeing a property in Patterson, New Jersey. I actually met an agent at a networking event, and Joe was there as well. A little, individual. She, short girl. She, was talking. She was a little quiet. She wasn't really, talking to many people. She was a little shy. I spoke with her, and she said, "Yeah, I actually have a property in Patterson, that I'm trying to sell." So I look at the property, and it's a commercial property. Long story short, I go see it this morning, and it's a potential deal. So just reaching out and again having that open mindedness will take you a long way. With networking, and there's a lot of possibilities, and what everybody's doing here. So I wish everybody luck in their endeavors, and I hope to come back on and talk another day. I hope I did well, Joe.
Thanks, Lewis. You did great. You showed up. That's half the battle sometimes. A lot of people don't realize just showing up is a breakthrough when it comes to networking. Being consistent, being continuous, being focused, but being real with people and being passionate about what you do, I think is extremely important. Okay, these are all great factors to successful strategies in networking. And I try to be consistent, continuous in what I do. I keep a very consistent, I would call aggressive uh, schedule in networking and following up with people, but it's all in the follow up. You got to follow up with every single person you meet. It's so important. The skillet is hot. You got to maintain the heat on the skillet in your business. And networking is a key module to it. You could do so much social media, but you still got to meet people. You still have to talk to people. You still got to follow up with people. You got to check in with people. I'm always rotating my folders and my information by sending out check-ins with people. I want to see how they're doing. Can I be of any assistance? The follow-up is very important. I want to thank our sponsors this morning. I want to thank Mr. Yardell Perkins of Perkatech. Been a great business partner and associate of mine. We're handling some great events. We got going into the fall with a mastermind group, and very excited about our collaborations in the future here and present. I want to thank MB Capital, your unsecured business line of credit program, providing unsecured business lines for real estate professionals nationwide. I want to thank Linda Pelagas from Realty 411, who provides national publication through Realty 411 for real estate professionals, as well as national events. I know she's got a couple of events coming up this fall. And then I want to thank Lendmark, where I'm a senior loan analyst, providing asset-based lending for real estate professionals nationwide in the DSCR space, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction, multifamily, mixed use, blanket loans, advisory, and strategy. And my quote this morning: 2 things define you: your patience when you have nothing, your attitude when you have everything. Everybody have a blessed Saturday morning. We'll be back Sunday, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow with another great subject of education, networking, and strategy. And I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. Thank you.